Hi Year 2, it's Miss Addy. Today for maths, our learning question asks us, can I divide by 5? Our steps to success say, I can divide by 5 using the sharing strategy, I can divide by 5 using the grouping strategy, and I can record division number sentences using the division symbol. Our first star word says divide, and in red you can see the division symbol. This is the operation that we've been learning about this week. Our other star words say share and group because these are strategies. That means special ways and special methods of dividing. We've also got the phrase equal groups because it's really important that when we divide, we are making equal groups. We've also got the phrase multiples of 5. These are numbers we say when we count in fives. They're part of the 5 times table. So let's remind ourselves, what is division? We know it's one of our 4 operations. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now, division is separating something into equal parts. This could be separating amounts into equal parts. So it's like splitting it up. And when we think of division, where there are other words that come to mind, we can say the word divide. We can say the words share, share equally, making groups of, or repeated subtraction. And this is our division symbol. There are 2 strategies, so that means 2 ways we can use to divide. We can divide by sharing and we can divide by grouping. We've learnt about both of these strategies this week. So the first strategy we learnt about was dividing by sharing. Now think back to the word sharing. When we share with our friends, we make sure we both have the same amount, or we all have the same amount. Just like this picture of the dogs. We've shared the bones out, so they have an equal amount. We shared them out 1 by 1. And this helps us to write our division number sentence. Here we've got 15 divided by 5 equals 3. And that division symbol means we shared the bones between the 5 dogs. The 15 bones shared between 5 dogs, they each got 3. So my answer is how many bones each dog got. And then we have our second strategy, and that's grouping. Now this strategy is slightly different to sharing. Instead of saying one for you, one for me, what we're doing is we're putting them all into a group till we fill up the group. As we're dividing by 5, we can look at this picture, and this shows us that we put the elephants into groups of 5. I can see 5 elephants in my first group, 5 elephants in my second group, and 5 elephants in my third group. I have 3 groups of 5. And this helped us to write the division number sentence 15 divided by 5 equals 3. As we started with 15 elephants, and our division symbol now means we grouped the elephants. And we grouped the elephants into groups of 5. And then the answer is 3 because we had 3 groups. We made 3 groups. Yesterday, we were practicing dividing by 2, but today we are dividing by 5. Before we can do that, we need to remind ourselves about the number patterns when counting in fives. Looking at the 100 square, I've highlighted the multiples of 5, so the numbers we say when we count in fives. Can you remember the special pattern? That's right. When we count in fives, our numbers end in a 5 or a 0. That means they have 5 or 0 ones, because the last digit is called the ones digit. Let's quickly practice counting in fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. each of those numbers ended in a 5 or a 0. Today we're going to have a go answering this division question. It says 35 divided by 5. We need to work out the answer. So first, we need 35 objects. You might notice the number 35 is at the beginning of the number sentence, and that's because it's the largest number. When we divide, we always start with the largest number. So we've got our 35 objects. We're going to use eggs today. Here are my 35 eggs, and I've organised them into arrays, so they should be easy to count, hopefully. Wow, that was a lot of eggs to count out. So we have our 35 eggs, and we're now going to divide them. And we're going to divide them by sharing. So my red division symbol now is asking us to share the eggs. And we're going to share them between 5 chickens because we've got the number 5 there. 35 divided by 5. So here are our 5 chickens. Here are our 35 eggs. We're going to share them. But remember, each chicken needs the same amount of eggs so that it is fair and equal. Right, we have given out all of the eggs to the chickens. Have a look at how many eggs each chicken has. Do they have the same amount? Is it equal? How many eggs does each chicken have? Yes, that's right. They have 7 eggs each. This means it's fair and equal. This is the answer to my division problem. 35 divided by 5 equals 7. So we started with 35 eggs. We shared them between 5 chickens, and each chicken got 7 eggs. So the strategy we used here was dividing by sharing. Now we're going to work out the same division problem, but instead of dividing by sharing, let's use our other strategy. We're going to divide by grouping. So again, we need to start with our 35 objects. Let's stick to the eggs. But instead of sharing, we're grouping them. That means we're putting them into groups of 5. There has to be 5 in each group, no more or no less. 1 group of 5, 2 groups of 5, 3 groups of 5, 4 groups of 5, 5 groups of 5, 6 groups of 5, 7 groups of 5. How many groups have we made? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've made 7 groups. So we started with our 35 eggs. We grouped them into groups of 5. And after we grouped all of the eggs, we realized we'd made 7 groups. There aren't any leftover eggs or any spare eggs. So when we divide by 5, we are separating amounts. This means that we're separating them into 5 equal groups. And when we divide by 5, we need to use multiples of 5. So our largest number at the beginning, our biggest amount, it needs to be a multiple of 5, which means it needs to be part of the counting in fives numbers. It needs to be a number that ends in a 5 or ends in a 0. But I wonder what would happen if we divided by 5, but instead we used a number that does not end in a 5 or a 0. Pause the video and have a little think. What do you think would happen? Shall we try it out? This time, our number sentence says 11 divided by 5. Is 11 a multiple of 5? No, it's not. So we're going to see what happens. So here I've got some chocolate bars. How many do I have? I have 11 chocolate bars. Let's have a go at sharing the chocolate bars. We're going to share the chocolate bars between the 5 children. Now remember, each child needs to have the same amount. They need to have an equal amount of chocolate bars. Let's share them. Oh dear, what do you notice? There is a chocolate bar left over. I can't give that chocolate bar to any of those children because right now they each have 2, and that's equal. If I gave that chocolate bar to another child, it wouldn't be equal anymore, which means this chocolate bar is left over. It's called a remainder, which means I cannot divide 11 by 5 equally. Now, just to be extra sure, I'm going to divide these chocolate bars, but I'm going to group them now. I'm going to put them into groups of 5. So I've put 5 chocolate bars into one group. I've made one group of 5. Now I put another 5 chocolate bars into another group. I have 2 groups of 5. But oh dear, what do you notice has happened again? There is a leftover chocolate bar. I can't put that chocolate bar into any of the groups because they need to be groups of 5. So if I put that one into another group, it'll be a group of 6, which won't be correct. So again, this chocolate bar is left over. It's called a remainder. So my question asked me 11 divided by 5. Can 11 divide by 5? No, it can't because 11 is not a multiple of 5. It needs to be a counting in fives number for me to divide it by 5. Can you remember the 2 strategies we're using to divide? Sharing. So we're sharing each object out one by one. And grouping. That's when we're counting out an amount and circling it, so we're putting it into a group. Okay, year 2, this is your task. I'd like you to work out this division problem. It says 25 divided by 5. So I'd like you to work it out and draw your working out to show this division. Now you can use our 2 strategies to help you. Can you show your working out by sharing? And after, can you show your working out by grouping? This means you'll need to draw out 25 objects. Now this could be 25 squares or circles or sweets or whatever you like, but you need to show the first way by sharing them and the second way by grouping them. Can you work out the answer? And then have a think. Which way did you find easier, sharing or grouping? Enjoy your task, year 2. Bye bye.